Hey guys, welcome back. Fly we're tying today is the double bugger. For the sake of time, I've started off with a size 6 hook. I already threw my lead on. I'm just gonna get my thread on here. The fly, it is a bit of a time-consuming fly, but it really works. And the movement and action that this fly offers really does a great job. We're gonna make sure our thread's tied down nice. Our lead weight here is nice and secure. What I've got here is some marabou, and what we want to do is make it about the length of the hook, maybe a little bit longer there, and we're just going to tie this on right at the back, give kind of a tail end to our bugger. And essentially the idea behind this is you're connecting two woolly buggers. But because of the size of the fly and things like that, I think you can add a little bit more to it. You're going to see that when we throw some rubber legs on and things like that, and it's really going to turn out and be a good looking fly. Once we get that marabou tied on, here's my silly legs. It's kind of a tiger pattern with all of them black, and we're just going to tie both these on here at the same time. Usually it saves time, but if they start getting all tangly and whatnot, then it's more of a hassle than what it's worth. But we'll see if we can get these tied on. There we go. Just move up a little bit and we'll cut those off and make sure they're on tight. Okay, and you can see there we've got kind of leg on each side, and then we're gonna grab our saddle hackle here. Now this is an olive saddle hackle, and what I've done, I've given myself a little room at the tip to tie on, so we'll tie that here in the back. Try and get as close to that marabou as you can when we're tying that on. And then now all I've got here is an olive dubbing. We're a real olive fly. There's, you know, a few little colors. That the pearl flash that we throw on later adds a variety to it, but the main color is this olive color, and we'll get that up there. And if you don't have a rotary vise, you need to really consider getting one. I can't tell you how nice it's been having this rotary vise and being able to dub or hackle or wrap chenille, whatever it is I need to do, whatever fly I'm tying. This just makes it 100 times easier. I really don't have to get this tied around my thread here. Once it's started, I just kind of hold on to my dubbing and just go all the way up. We'll get right up to the eye of the hook here. There we go. Right there. That just makes it a lot easier to do it that way. I can, depending on how I grip, I can tighten or loosen the chenille wrap and whatnot. But anyway, we'll do a half hitch here. I like to do a half hitch before I start rotating anything that's not with the thread. We'll just take this hackle and try and keep even spacing all the way up here. And we're going to go all the way to the end and tie that off. And I mean, this pattern here is I mean, makes a great bugger. If you want, I mean, stop here and you've got yourself a fly that you can fish all on its own and probably do okay with. You'll see after we get the whole fly done why it's worth your time to to do the second part. We'll get that out of the way here. And I've already got my second hook weighted on, so you would wrap a weight, but again, for the sake of time, I've already gone and done that. But we'll dress our hook again and make sure this lead weight's tied nice and tight and won't go anywhere on us. And again, in the front and the back, where this lead weight is, I like to give it a smooth transition. So we'll build up our thread body a little bit, going from the hook to the weight. And we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to get our marabou, tie it on in the back here. Excuse me. Make sure that's nice and tight. But then I'm going to rip off the tips. I don't want it going all the way back because it's going to cover up that that back fly that we had. And so I'm maybe about halfway down this second fly once we tie it on. You'll see here. But what I've got here is a medium wire. It really doesn't matter whatever color you have in the medium. I just happen to have silver. I don't like using lead. It just seems real malleable and will bend and break fairly easily. So I like this silver wire or a copper wire or whatever it is that you throw on there. It seems to be a little bit harder. But I like to tie it going back and then bend it over like it is here, because then this wire is not going to slide out. Because we could have a fish on this back fly and this wire could very well slide right on out. But we're going to hook that through there. See if I can position it under some of this marabou. I don't know that it's going to work, so let's do this. Let's come in from the top. That might give us a better angle. We'll just go underneath. There we go. That works a lot better. So we'll just go underneath the marabou, and then we're going to tie our other end of the lead wire on. And so that first fly is attached to the second fly. I mean, we're a double hook rig, and I'm going to bend over and tie back so it won't slide off the other way. And I have a little too much wire, so I'll have to cut that off. But just make sure it's nice and tight. The body's going to look fairly funky. That's why it's not a big concern, because we're going to dub and have the hackle going up over top, so it's going to cover a lot of the bumps and things like that that wire is causing. But we can try and smooth it out as best we can. We'll come here to the back, and this is that same saddle hackle, that olive saddle hackle. I've done the same thing, stripped off a little bit so I can tie on, and we're going to put some rubber legs on again to really help bring attention to this pattern while it's in the water. We'll get those tied on, and these are going to be almost to the back of the second hook on there. So these ones are going to be fairly long, and they're going to flow with the bug while it's in the water. Just make sure I've got all the ends tied down. There we go. And then this is a pearl flash that I really like to use. I don't want to overdo it. This is just going to reflect light a little bit better, help catch the fish attention as it's floating on by, hopefully. And just do two little strands there. And now we're just going to dub our body. And it's a little bit trickier with the rotary feature when you've got that second bug on there. Sometimes I get it where it'll stick and it'll do alright, but this time it's kind of flopping around, but we're going to be able to manage and we'll be okay. So just make sure you're getting all that wire covered as you're going up. You don't want any of that wire to show, and your body, it's going to look a little bit like there's something underneath. Once we get the hackle on it, you're not going to be able to tell, and when it's wet, you're not going to be able to tell. The fish won't be able to tell, and it'll look just fine. So we'll get that off there. Do a little half hitch and wrap our hackle around. Getting my rubber leg, my silly leg's in the way. And the same thing we did on the first fly, just even sections all the way up to the top here. Alright, now we're even. We're just going to tie this off. 3-4 wraps or so. Ought to secure it pretty good. There we go. Cut that off. Now what I like to do with my hackle, and I do the same thing on my woolly buggers, I'll pull the hackle back and I'll do a couple wraps on top, and it just pushes those fibers back up front here. And then I'll dub the front and give kind of a dubbing head, and it looks a lot better than trying to tie off when I've got all these little strands of hackle that I caught in my thread sticking out the front. It just gives it a better look if you can push some of those back. Makes it look a little bit better there. But we're going to put on some more of this flash. And I've got 2 big long strands, so we're going to have 4 going back, and I'm going to do 2 underneath. So we're getting a good amount of sunlight reflecting off of this. And then we'll cut those down. We don't want them going past the tail end, but we want it to go pretty much the length of the fly. And then one last set of silly legs. I mean, the purpose of this double bugger is to have a lot of movement. And you can see from having a second fly tied onto the back, I guess giving it kind of an extended body, it's really free to move. And these silly legs, this flash, it's all going to be moving together. So it's really going to look sharp. It's going to flow nice. It's going to move really, really well here in the water, and really attracts the fish with all that movement. And when it's a lifelike type of movement, really does look nice in the water. But we're just doing a dubbing head here to cover up our thread and our rubber legs and some of the garbage we've got up top. And then I leave a little bit of dubbing on my thread as I whip finish. So I'm doing my whip finish, but I'm still wrapping it with dubbing. So now I don't have as much thread coming showing and doing that kind of thing. I'll just do one more right up front at the eye of the hook here. And that's it, guys. That's your double bugger. Trim some of these legs down. They look a little too long. But just look at the movement that you're going to get from this bug. It's really a great pattern. Trim off some of these hackle fibers I've got sticking up front. But take a look at how this moves. I mean, just the freedom that this back fly has to move around. And that's what it'll look like there in the water. I mean, it's just really a great pattern, great fly to fish. Here's the materials that you're going to need. If you want to purchase the flies, you can go to liprippin.com, purchase these flies. They are time consuming, so we can get all the tying done, ship them out to you, get them out pretty quick. Good luck tying, guys. Be sure to send us our pictures, and have a good one.